There comes a moment in your life when everything outside of you continues to move, but something within you decides to stop. Not because you've figured everything out, but because you're tired of running from yourself. You sit in silence, and for the first time, you don't reach for your phone, you don't distract your mind, you don't escape. You simply exist with your thoughts. And in that stillness, you begin to feel something deeper, a quiet presence that has always been there but was never heard. It doesn't demand attention, it doesn't rush you, it simply waits. And in that moment, you realize that maybe the answers you've been searching for outside were always within you. As you continue sitting with yourself, a powerful realization begins to unfold. You start to see your life from a different perspective, almost as if you're observing it instead of living it unconsciously. You notice how many of your choices were shaped by expectations, what people wanted from you, what society defined as success, what fear allowed you to accept. And it hits you quietly, not everything you've been living was truly yours. This doesn't create chaos, it creates clarity. A deep understanding that you've been following a path without ever questioning if it belonged to you. And now that you see it, something inside you begins to shift. The more you listen, the more you begin to notice a voice within you that feels different from the rest. It's not loud like your fears, and it's not confusing like your thoughts. It's calm, steady, and clear. It doesn't force you, it guides you. At first, you doubt it. You question whether it's real or just your imagination. But the more you sit in silence, the more familiar it becomes. You begin to recognize that this voice has always been there, in moments when something didn't feel right, in times when your heart quietly pulled you in another direction. And now, instead of ignoring it, you start listening. Listening to yourself isn't always peaceful. Sometimes, it brings you face to face with truths you've been avoiding for a long time. You start realizing where you've been pretending, where you've been settling, where you've been saying yes when your soul was quietly saying no. And that truth can feel heavy. It can make you uncomfortable. But at the same time, it feels real. It feels honest. And for the first time, you understand that discomfort is not your enemy, it's a sign that you're finally seeing things clearly. As you continue listening to yourself, your energy begins to change. Things that once felt normal start to feel out of place. Conversations don't excite you the same way, environments feel heavier, and certain habits no longer bring comfort. It's not that the world has changed, it's that you have. This shift is quiet but powerful. You begin to pull back from things that drain you, not out of anger, but out of awareness. You start choosing peace over noise, truth over comfort, and slowly, your life begins to realign. With this awareness comes one of the hardest parts, letting go. Not everything, not all at once, but little by little. You start releasing habits, patterns, and even people that no longer match who you're becoming. It's not easy. There's a sense of loss, a feeling of emptiness. But deep down, you know this is necessary. Because you can't hold on to your old life and step into your true self at the same time. And as painful as it feels, you begin to trust that what you're letting go of is making space for something real. There is a phase in this journey where you feel alone. Not because no one is around you, but because no one fully understands what you're going through. You've changed, your mindset has shifted, your energy is different. And suddenly, you don't feel connected to the same things anymore. This loneliness can feel heavy, but it's not permanent. It's a transition. A space between who you were and who you are becoming. And in this space, you learn something powerful, how to be comfortable with yourself. There was a time when someone lived exactly the life they were expected to live. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but inside, something felt missing. One day, they decided to sit in silence and ask themselves a simple question: what do I really want? The answer didn't come immediately. But over time, it became clear. And that clarity changed their life. Not instantly, not dramatically, but step by step. They began to choose differently, think differently, live differently. And all of it started from one moment, when they finally listened to themselves. As you continue this journey, something beautiful begins to grow: trust. Not in others, not in outcomes, but in yourself. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop needing constant validation. You begin to understand that your inner voice is not there to confuse you, but to guide you. And the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. Life may still be uncertain, but you are no longer lost. Because you finally have something you can rely on, yourself. And in the end, you realize something powerful. Listening to yourself doesn't just change your decisions, it changes your entire life. You become more real, more aligned, more at peace. The chaos inside you settles, not because life is perfect, but because you are finally in tune with who you are. And that is the true transformation. Not becoming someone new, but becoming who you were always meant to be.